Predictable. My sister leaned against the doorway, a smirk hidden in her tone. You blow everything out of proportion. My fingers gripped the mug until it protested. I should have walked away. I didn't. My dad, a pilot, called. I need to ask something weird. Is your husband home? His voice held the calm you expect from someone used to turbulence. Yes, I said. He's in the living room. Then his voice softened. That's impossible. I'm watching him with another woman. They just boarded my flight to Paris. The door behind me opened. Hi everyone. Maya Sinclair. Say it aloud. Feel it. Names are anchors. And I needed one as the ground beneath me tilted. The house smelled of lemon cleaner and yesterday's lies. Hallway light sliced through the kitchen tiles. The TV murmured the weather. Everything felt obscene. I didn't move. Shock isn't a freeze. It's a slow slide. Gravity had a new agenda. From the living room came his laugh, familiar, warm, intertwined with a woman's low, smooth voice, one I'd never hear in my own tones. My pulse sharpened. My throat learned caution. I pictured them. His elbow brushing hers, casual closeness mapping a territory. Her hand tucked hair behind an ear, a trespass I now recognized. My dad's words on speaker painted a black dot on the scene, growing larger. I walked into the room, deliberate, like a ship reaching shore, like completing a task by rote. He glanced up with that small apologetic smile, the one people confuse for confession. The woman met my eyes politely, as if we were props in a play where fidelity is just a costume change. Who's on the phone? He asked casually. My dad's voice came through the speaker crisp. I see you. Both of you. Some lies you forgive silently. Others storm in. The doorway, the whisper, the shifted air. All felt like entering a storm you were warned about but refused to imagine. I stopped at the couch, letting my hands rest in my lap, practicing silence. He reached instinctively. I didn't let him. Her scent, citrus, smoke, braided itself into my memory like accusation. Outside, a plane lifted. Inside, the house held its breath. I smiled, a small, precise smile that wasn't mine. The door clicked shut, the call ended, and silence fell heavy like a storm cloud. His eyes blinked once, twice. The woman crossed her legs, composed, electric against my skin. Everything okay? His tone balanced between casual and wary. I looked at him, phone warm in my hand, my father's words echoing. I can see you both. I think, I said slowly, my dad just recognized you on his flight to Paris. The words hit like glass shattering. Color drained from his face. The woman's hand twitched on her purse strap. She looked at him first, answer enough. He laughed, hollow, rehearsed. That's crazy, Maya. Your dad must be mistaken. But my father's eyesight is perfect. And the angle of his knee against the carpet betrayed his false narrative. I glanced at the front door, empty. My sister was gone, her mocking echo the only trace. Maybe she left because she knew. The room blurred at the edges. Walls pulsed like breathing. Family photos. My smile, his arm around me, transformed into evidence. I wanted to scream, but my throat refused. Silence stretched, choking him. He stood, pacing, gesturing wildly. Look, I can explain. Well, my voice cut through, calm yet final. You don't get to explain. Not tonight. The woman stood too, smoothing her skirt, avoiding me like guilt had a scent. Overhead, a plane drummed the ceiling, maybe the one my father piloted. Sky to floor, father to daughter, betrayal to proof. And I remained, steady, my stillness hotter than their excuses. He wasn't afraid of me, he feared my father. His pacing became jagged, trying to outmaneuver his lies. He rubbed his temples, muttering unfinished sentences, while the woman lingered near the door, clutching her purse like armor. I sat, phone heavy. The call log glared, undeniable. My father saw him. My father spoke the truth. Paris, I whispered, tasting the word like ash. You were supposed to be at work. Where were you, really? He stopped mid-step, jaw tightening until a vein throbbed at his temple. "Business," he muttered finally. "I travel for meetings. This is just a misunderstanding." But his voice wavered on misunderstanding, and that tiny crack spoke louder than any confession. The woman finally spoke, soft but cutting. "Maybe I should leave." She reached for the door, but his hand shot out, stopping her. Not for her but for himself. His eyes found mine, sharp and calculating. Cornered men become predators. "You'll ruin everything," he hissed under his breath. I heard it anyway. And then I understood. This wasn't just about betrayal. It was larger, deeper, the weight of a life carefully falsified. The air thickened, my heart beat loud against my ribs. Questions pressed against me. Who was she? How long? Why me? But the truth was heavier than questions. It was here, alive, wearing perfume and silence. I rose slowly, deliberate, letting the floorboards groan beneath me. His gaze followed, waiting for a collapse, a fight, a sob. Instead, I leaned just enough for him to see the steadiness in my eyes. "If my father saw you," I murmured, "then it's not just my marriage you've destroyed. It's your own facade." His lips parted, but before he could speak, my phone buzzed. My father was calling back. The vibration felt like a low drum of warning. His eyes locked on the phone as if it were a live grenade. The woman shrank into the doorframe, small and tense. I swiped to answer. "Dad," I said, voice careful, thin as glass. His voice cracked through the speaker. "Maya, listen. He isn't just traveling with her. 2 first-class tickets on his company card. And he told the crew she's his wife." The room froze. My husband lunged. "Hang up." His hand shot toward mine, but I pulled back, holding the phone close to my chest. That motion stripped the last layer of control from him. "He told them she was his wife," I repeated. "Not to my father. To the woman standing across from me." She flinched, as though the words burned. "I didn't know," she whispered, breaking the silence. Her voice shook, but her eyes betrayed the first hint of doubt. "Not about me, about him." He spun on her instantly. "Don't play innocent. You knew exactly what this was." Their argument spilled into the room like toxic smoke, words sharp and venomous. Lies, promises, futures debated. I stood apart, detached, a witness to the collapse of a life I'd defended. I thought of the years I'd shielded him, the laughter too loud at dinners to cover suspicion, the reassurances to friends. Now, with my father's words ringing in my ear, the act unraveled before me. "Dad," I whispered into the phone, voice raw. "Thank you. I know enough." He hesitated. "Maya, come stay with me tonight." "Don't stay there." I didn't respond. I lowered the phone, looked at the 2 people who had turned my home into a stage, and felt a calm colder than anger. My husband stopped mid-step. The woman wasn't arguing back. She was staring at me, guilt written across her face, as if she knew a secret about him I hadn't yet grasped. Her eyes clung to me, not him, the first real betrayal of the night. She wasn't defending him. She was silently confessing. "What is it?" I asked quietly. He snapped at her. Don't say a word." His command spoke louder than her silence ever could. She shook her head, lips pressed tight, trembling. Then she whispered. "He promised Paris wasn't just a trip. He said it was the start of our new life." The room tilted. My stomach sank, not from her confession but from the terror in her eyes. Terror of him. Faced him. "A new life," I said, calm, measured. "With what money? With what future?" Panic flickered in his face. Then he forced a laugh. "Don't listen to her. She's desperate. She's twisting everything." But desperation looked like her clutching her purse as if it contained her very soul. Then it hit me. The company card, the panic when Dad called, the endless business trips that never added up. This wasn't love. This was theft. "How much have you taken?" asked, voice heavy, irreversible. He blinked. Silence stretched. Not denial but calculation. And in that pause, the truth entered the room uninvited. My marriage wasn't just broken. It had been hollowed, a shell for him to hide inside. Before he could respond, the woman whispered, trembling, "Maya, he bought both tickets with your account." The words cut deep. Your account. They sank into my skin, a slow poison I could already feel. I stepped closer, my chest tight. "What did you just say?" The woman's eyes flicked to him, then back to me. "The receipts," she said. "I saw them when he checked in. Maya, they weren't on his company card. They were charged to your bank, your name." The phone in my hand suddenly felt like a weapon. I opened my banking app with trembling fingers. One glance, one tap, and my chest sank. Thousands gone. Transfers I hadn't authorized. The Paris tickets, staring at me from the transaction history. Bold and cruel. I looked up slowly, phone glowing between us. His face slackened. Not with guilt, but with irritation, as if I'd interrupted his script too early. "You were never supposed to see that," he muttered. The woman gasped, covering her mouth. For the first time I saw her clearly. Not a lover, but another casualty of promises he'd purchased using my life. "You used me," I said, voice low, controlled. "Not just my trust, my name, my money." He tried to step closer, offering that practiced smile. "Maya, think logically. We're married. It's all our money." Cut him off. "No. You made it yours the second you charged her ticket to my account." The woman's voice broke. "He told me he was leaving you, that everything was his. I didn't know." Her words dissolved into trembling tears, surrender in liquid form. "And him?" He laughed. Real laugh. "Do you think your father or your bank will care? By the time you notice, Paris will be behind me." Chill ran through me. That wasn't a threat about love. It was about something darker, bigger. Then my phone buzzed again. Not my dad. An email from the bank. Unusual wire transfer flagged. $250,000. The subject line screamed at me. Wire transfer attempt. $250,000. My pulse roared. His face shifted when he saw the screen, charm slipping completely. "You weren't supposed to see that yet," he muttered low, almost resigned. The woman's hands flew to her mouth. $250,000. She glanced at me, then at him, suddenly aware she was a pawn in a game she hadn't understood. I gripped the phone tighter. "How long?" I asked, calm but shaking. "How long have you been draining me?" He didn't answer. His silence spoke volumes. A hollow ache opened in my chest. Then clarity replaced it. Betrayal was no longer just personal. It was theft, identity theft, the dismantling of everything I had built. I moved to the desk, pulled out my folder of account records. My fingers rifled through pages until I saw it. Small withdrawals creeping over months. A slow bleed building to this audacious strike. The woman backed away. "You said you were successful, that you owned the company." He cut her off, eyes flashing. "Shut up." But she didn't. "He told me you were unstable, Maya. That your father interfered, that you didn't understand money. That you forced him to hide things." Every lie he'd told her reflected the lies he'd told me. I wanted to collapse under them, but I stood taller instead. "You almost had me," I whispered. "But you forgot one thing." His eyes narrowed. "And what's that?" The phone buzzed again, a text from Dad. "The airline fraud unit is alerted. They come. Don't let him leave." I met his gaze, calm, cutting through chaos. "You forgot, I'm not alone. My father saw you." The woman, pale and shaking, whispered, "Maya, you're not his first wife." Her words hung heavy. Not the first wife. My heart clenched. Not for him, but for all the women he'd used as collateral. I studied him. He didn't flinch. Didn't deny. Bored almost. That expression freed me more than any confession could. I inhaled, stepping back. Phone lit with my father's last message. The weight lifted. He hadn't just betrayed me. He'd revealed himself. "You'll never touch another dollar of mine," I said steadily. My dad is reporting this now, and the bank is freezing every account in my name. His jaw locked. His silence said more than any threat could. The woman finally moved, placing her purse down like it was venom. I'm done too, she whispered. She didn't look at him again, only at me, a mix of guilt and relief in her eyes. Then she left, leaving him alone in the wreckage of his lies. The house exhaled with her exit. The TV murmured in the background, but I heard only my own heartbeat, steady, certain. I turned to the window, night pressing against the glass. Planes roared above. I thought of my dad guiding one safely through the storm. He had seen the truth before I was ready. And I stood unbroken even after everything. My husband tried to speak, but I lifted a hand. Save it. Whatever you were going to say, I don't need to hear it. I walked past him, each step deliberate, moving from the ruins toward something clean. The betrayal was real, but so was the freedom that followed.